Welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka.
And hello there, I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, Yatin, it's a subdued start to the week. We've ended the day in the red, but we've clawed back from the day's low and 24,300. We are managing to hold on to those levels. But Yatin, of course, it's a washout kind of a situation in Mumbai today. Red alert. But we were hoping that it will be raining records on Dalal Street also, but that hasn't happened, and we've seen a very subdued start to a very trigger happy week, because we have earnings season starting this week itself. We have HCL Tech and Infosys that will be TCS that will be reporting numbers this week. But talking about today's action, as I mentioned, subdued start. Broader markets also saw some bit of profit taking. So the mid-cap indexes also ended the day in the red. A breadth was in favor of losers today. NSE advanced decline ratio almost at 2:3. And India VIX, there has been a jump in volatility at record levels. So 7% higher for the India VIX index today. But you have had good updates, first quarter updates from the likes of Marico and Dabur, and that clearly had a rub-off effect on the FMCG pack, which was among the top movers today. 1.5% gains coming in for that index. But metals, PSU banks, all of them came under profit taking. So the PSU banking index was down in excess of 1% to thereabouts. IT, I think, managed to hold out a bit, ahead of the numbers. Energy was also among the top gainers. But in terms of individual movers, ONGC, ITC, HDFC Life, HUL, Wipro, HCL Tech, these are some of the movers. On the flip side, Titan, of course, there's another downgrade that has come in after last week's downgrade by Kotak Institutional. Today we have had another global brokerage downgrading that stock clearly reacting to that and to its weak business update. So Titan among top Nifty losers. Divi's Lab, BPCL, Shriram Finance, JSW, these were some of the other losers. But Yatin, railway stocks, there's no stopping the railway stocks. Once again, top gainers.
Top gainers and strong momentum there. Nandita, last week we were talking about how defense stocks have given returns, but if you look at the railway stocks, trying to match that defense move. Clearly today, RVNL, the stock of the day, 15% higher for that one. IRFC up 7%, RITES up 3-4%, and most of these railway stocks are doing well. Apart from that, fertilizer stocks were in focus, 10% each for RCF as well as FACT. What did not do well after the quarterly updates, we had Bank of Baroda shares fell 4%, J&K Bank down 5%. Other stocks like AU Bank down 4.5%, Bank of Baroda was also down 4%, Yes Bank 3.5%. In general, this time, the deposit growth has been subdued, probably because of that, banking sector has been witnessing some bit of pressure in general. But apart from all of these stocks, Swan Energy, that stock moves 5% higher, REC PFC up 5%, Marico after that good quarterly update was up 4% in trade.
That's true. FMCG pack, as I mentioned, was in high demand today. But on that note, let's take a look at the stocks that are on our radar this afternoon. Yatin, starting with Titan, of course. Second downgrade coming in for Titan in a matter of days, right? And this time around, it's JP Morgan that has downgraded the stock. Of course, the company reported its first quarter update underwhelming, so to say, lacking shine. You had 9% growth on a YOY basis for Titan. Jewelry segment also grew just 9%. Watches and wearable segment grew 15%. Eyewear segment that grew somewhere around 3%. Emerging businesses 4%, but Carrot Lane clocked in an 18% growth on a YOY basis. The company has said that it's the high gold prices and lesser number of wedding days that had impacted consumer demand. But let's see what JP Morgan is saying as to why it has really downgraded the stock. Of course, first of all, it has downgraded the stock to neutral from overweight. Target price has been cut to 3,450 rupees vis-a-vis 3,850 rupees per share. Now the brokerage is concerned over moderating growth for studded jewelry, and it has said that the volatility in gold prices will continue to impact Titan in the near term, but it's the increasing consumer preference for gold and the intensifying promotional activity. These are some of the factors that may deter the pace of new customer acquisitions for Titan, and the fact that Titan has actually not done as well as its peers. That is also a matter of concern. Going forward, some of the brokerages have maintained their ratings on the stock, but most of them are cautious. Look at CLSA, it has maintained an outperform rating. Target price has been kept at above 4,000 rupees, 4,045, and CLSA is also saying that any correction due to a soft quarter would be a good accumulating opportunity when it comes to Titan, and it has also said that the growth will come back to normal levels or normalize once the wedding season arrives. Goldman Sachs, on the other hand, has noted that the quarterly update is disappointing, but it has maintained its buy rating and the target price has been maintained at 3,700 rupees per share. But it has also pointed out that jewelry margins may remain under pressure, even though the company can achieve its FY25 guidance, but it could be at the lower end of what the management had indicated. But I just want to point out, Kotak Institutional had downgraded the stock last week and had said that the risk reward is unfavorable, despite the fact that the stock has shed 11% on a YTD basis. After today's fall, I think it's come up to 15%. Yeah. That's the kind of losses Titan shares have seen on a YTD basis. But Yatin, another stock that didn't do well was Bank of Baroda.
Absolutely. So, the clear picture of this quarterly update is a weak deposit growth, starting from HDFC Bank to all the PSUs from, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India. We have seen the deposit growth, slightly lower than advance growth, and it is a quite single low digit growth which has probably led the profit taking on the street. If you look at Bank of Baroda, Morgan Stanley's equal weight with a target of 280. If you look at the highlights of the Q1 update from Bank of Baroda, their domestic loans have declined, 2% quarter on quarter. And in the business update, we have seen the domestic loans have largely declined due to non-retail loans, which are down 3.5% versus 4% growth earlier. Domestic retail growth was only at 3.6% versus 5.5% according to Morgan Stanley. And the overseas book, because Bank of Baroda does a lot of international borrowing lending, and there the international book also has seen a decline of 1% coming in, and the domestic deposits are also down 2% QOQ. Obviously, year on year there is slower growth, but if you look at it from a QOQ basis, clearly the decline is something that the street did not anticipate or probably did not like as well, and that is the reason why the stock was down 4% in trade, closing almost at the day's low.
Yeah, I think most of the banks that have come in with their first quarter updates, they have disappointed in terms of deposit growth on a quarter on quarter basis, right? And that's why we've seen the Nifty Bank, PSU Bank, all these indices remaining under pressure. But with that, I think we've come to the end of this edition of Closing Bell. Of course, we will be keeping a tab on how the markets really behave here on. It's a subdued start. Let's see whether the market manages to pick up pace as we progress, and of course it will be the IT numbers that will be in focus this week. But with that, from me and Yatin, thanks a lot for tuning in. For all those who are in office and going back home, be safe. Red alert for Mumbai and adjoining areas. So watch out for how you guys travel back home. But from me and Yatin, thanks a lot. Stay tuned to Moneycontrol for all your other news and updates, and come back and join us tomorrow morning as well.
Thank you.